Hey lovelies, Lisa here, and it's day 4 in my Tower month. And today I've been thinking about vulnerability and intimacy. I've been thinking specifically, and this comes not only from my own spiritual work, but my work in the world, working with others, offering contemplative guidance, being a hospital chaplain, meeting others where they are. I've been thinking a lot about, the way that, what it's like really when we bring what's sort of submerged in the depths of our heart, when we bring that out into the world and the world meets it with kindness. The world just meets it. So these moments of the inner stuff coming out and being greeted in a gentle way. Moments of intimacy, moments where vulnerability is met with kindness, which Lord knows is not always what happens when we bring ourselves forward fearlessly, vulnerably into the world. We aren't always met with kindness, or it doesn't always feel like the kindest place to be. The world doesn't always feel so sweet and gentle. But I think that in some ways, one of the ways to understand the Tower is to understand it in terms of those moments of intimacy, when what is inside our heart comes out and is met by a world that is kind and gentle. And I was thinking about this today. I had a couple of visits today with patients, and one at the beginning of the day and one toward the end of the day, that were really, really, really different patients, really different situations, really. But what was common in both is that in both of them, I had the privilege of gaining enough trust, or maybe just being, I don't know, maybe just being in the right place at the right time, or the wrong place at the wrong time, depending on your viewpoint, I guess. When the person I was talking to shared something that was kind of submerged, and as they did so, and I just was present for that, tears came. They began to weep, and those tears didn't seem to be painful tears, right? And I think about my own self when I've shared things that are those moments where it's like, here it is, and it gets met. Those moments of sharing, tears come not because of what I'm sharing. Tears come because the sharing itself is this release, is this blessing, is blessing. It's the sense that I can bring myself out into the world and the world can meet me. I mean, how amazing is that? I think that's one way to understand what blessing is. And I think this is one thing that the Tower is depicting. I was like thinking about Jodorowsky's reading of the Tower. So this is Alejandro Jodorowsky, total crazy man, a brilliant, and his way of tarot. And he describes the card. This isn't his deck. This is the Ben Dove deck, but they're really similar. They're both based on the Convert, the 1760 Convert. So Jodorowsky says, the lightning-like entity either emerging from or penetrating into the Tower. That's already interesting. So he's saying, this lightning, or whatever it is, he says lightning-like, flame, firebird, or lightning flash. It's either penetrating the Tower or emerging from the Tower. So that ambivalence of direction, super interesting. Is something coming in or something going out? He says it's united with the crown of creation. So this flame is united with the crown of creation. And here he's specifically invoking a Kabbalistic reading of the Tower. So he's thinking about the tree of life and Keter, the crown of creation. So he's already by invoking the Kabbalah, and the Kabbalah being interesting to him, he is talking about the way divinity and the sacred and the spiritual come into the material world. So he's saying it's united with the crown of creation. This is not destruction, he says, but the transformation of material power into spiritual fulguration. Fulguration is like combustion, flame, right? So for him, the tower is not about destruction. It's about the union of the spiritual and the material. And he goes on to say that, you know, he connects the tower, which is the 16th trump, and in, you know, it's really, I think, very clear in the Roman numerals that this is a 10 plus a 6. So it's like in the second decade of the trumps. So for Jodorowsky, this card, the tower, or La Maison de Dieu, is really analogous to the 6th trump, or lovers. And so he says this is all about union. It's about the union of the divine with creation. It's about the union of heaven and earth. So, you know, that's kind of mind-blowing, right? Like that this card, it's not about destruction, but there's something here where things that seem so far apart, insides and outsides, heaven and earth, that it's coming together, that kind of joining of what seems like it can't be joined. I was thinking about this weekend, thinking about the Jacques Vieilleville depiction of the tower. And in this deck, you know, sort of 16th century, when is it? It's 15, oh, I'm not going to remember, 1540-ish. In this, or is it 1640? Oh, I'm just a century off. Either way. Anyway, old deck. In this deck, the tree's not being destroyed, right? Lightning's not even striking the tree, but there are these glowing orbs of color, right? Which in La Maison Dieu, in the 16th trump from, you know, the 18th century, we see this and we see the lightning. So like, what are these circles, you know? So Jodorowsky at one point says, hey, you know, if you see this as being phallic, yeah, you know, and so he suggests that this is, you know, this moment of the tower, which one of the key words he says for this is to uncork. It's an uncorking. He says, yeah, this is ejaculation, you know, so you could see these as, you know, as seed, right? As the germ of the semen, right? I mean, it's the seminal moment of creation, of the spiritual and the material coming together in creation. Here we just have like this rain, this seed, this harvest coming from the sky to the earth. I was thinking, you know, about these drops as being like dewdrops. And then I was thinking about them as being tears. And then I was thinking about them being the sweet balm of forgiveness and blessing. And so today I've been thinking, you know, the tower is also about blessing. It's about what happens when our heart leaps forth and the world, the universe, God, deity, meaning meets us, you know? And this is a moment of blessing. It's a moment of beauty. And that's another meaning from the Kabbalah and from the Tree of Life. The sixth Sephirot is Tiferet, which is beauty. This is beauty. So I was thinking that. Yeah. The tower. Blessing, beauty, ejaculation. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for watching and thank you for your practice.